To everyone listening and watching, welcome to our third annual Science of Success. My name is Ilana Afrika Bredenkamp. What a privilege it is to be here. To everyone who's watching online, a warm, warm welcome. To everyone who's in earshot at our actual event, it's wonderful to see so many faces. And I must say, familiar faces, as this is not the first time that we are doing this. Now, whether you are joining us from home or digitally, we are looking forward to an incredible day where we will learn so much about our finances, our behaviors, and definitely our habits. Now, even though this is not the first time that I have been at Science of Success, I think what is new to all of us is the 10-year partnership between Momentum and UNISA, something that I will be highlighting later on in our broadcast as well. But Momentum UNISA Household Financial Wellness Index would not be possible and is the reason why we're all here and celebrating 10 years. The insight shared from this partnership has been so valuable that it's not just valuable for South African homes, but also helping millions of South Africans understanding what their finances is about, private sector as well as to governments. When we think of COVID and I see everyone around me wearing masks, I realize one thing, that COVID has come to change our lives. And even though it has come to disrupt, today we're setting the record straight because we are going to help you get back onto the financial path of success. The reason I also say this is because for most of you, the only success has been your health. And so we want to help you today to putting your financial success first. Your health first too, yes, but while you are here, we're going to make sure that you have the best and most incredible time. For all of you who've just joining us, Elana here, coming to you from our Science of Success event. We're celebrating you and your finances and also the findings that has come out later on, navigating you through the maze of your mental states. Now, when I say maze, it's not an understatement. I'm going to take you through the most amazing maze that has plenty of mirrors. Please stay tuned. Earlier I got lost, then I got lost again, which means I'm lost in my own finances, okay? So I cannot wait to take you through that. Over to serious stuff. For 2021, we're celebrating the following: mental bandwidth depletion. You know what? I had the opportunity to speak to one of the economists yesterday. And I'm so excited for the talks that's going to be about this and also how we're going to try and think sharper about our finances this year. Also today, with Momentum and UNISA present, we will be unpacking the Momentum UNISA Household Financial Wellness Insights Report. Why is it such a big word? It's a big word because it involves you. And it's a big word because it involves it's a big word because it involves your success. We're looking forward to speaking to people like Dr. Bradley, a whole lineup of people, and then also this, okay, because we're on the virtual, you have an advantage that most of the what's incredible about it is watch the comment section because grabs, there's a Mercedes-Benz AMG driving experience. See a QR code, just scan it, okay? Because it means that there's a prize up for grabs. Now, before we continue with the festivities, I want to introduce you to someone who I think is a mentor in my own life. I admire her extremely. She brings positivity, not just with She Owns Her Success events, but also with today, where we look at everyone and we just want them to thrive. Ladies and gentlemen, my beautiful virtual audience, it is my pleasure to introduce you to our group CMO of Momentum Metropolitan, Nontokozo Madonsela. Yeah. I laughed because when they introduced you in the actual live,
yes.
you came on stage and did that Oprah moment again.
I love
It was incredible though.
I'm manifesting Oprah.
I was in the
like
makeup
every
room
year.
and I heard you. Okay, I heard you from the other side of the field. No, it's incredible. Nonto, what a privilege it is to be here. I say that because I've just mentioned things like COVID. I've mentioned things like our financial success. I mean, I don't even want to go through the stats because we're going to leave that to the economists and the people that are here to share that with us. But you've got your own passions, concerns, celebrations with this event. Please share it with us.
Well, here's the first thing that I will always keep preaching, because this is what our brand is about. Our brand is about enabling success, and our payoff line says we are here for people on those journeys. What is important on your journey, like in your career, we need support,
Yeah.
we need advice, we need information, we need knowledge. And we've got to, in order for us to grow, we've got to every year learn new stuff. So that's why we are celebrating 10 years with UNISA. I mean, that's a long marriage, right? It's like a lifetime.
It is a lifetime, but I
Yeah.
also want to say this. This is a world first for me. It is incredible that governments and that households, business, side hustles, if that's
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
whoever you are, a woman, a man, it doesn't matter. We're all benefiting from this. So I want to talk about that partnership. 10 years is a long time to
10
be.
years is a long time, girl.
So this partnership between UNISA and Momentum, it's
Yeah.
brought us some amazing findings, right?
Yeah, it has. And here's the deal. As a financial institution, we know that we've got to help people process, digest,
Yeah.
learn. Like money is complicated, complex, emotional, confusing, overwhelming, and add a layer of financial, of like mental bandwidth.
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier with my team, we always say we are just siyagowisha, guys.
Yeah.
It's a lot. We are
Yeah.
going through so much. And what was important in our insights when we were planning this, somebody said, this event and this data, this report that we've made processable, enjoyable, digestible,
Able,
whatever, it's something chewable, is going to help people know the difference between doing what is right and what is almost right. Doesn't it frighten you that there's a
right and an
decision you are making that is
making.
like, it appeared to be right, but it wasn't exactly right to do with your finances. So I think I would love it if people went online, momentum.coza, downloaded the report so that they could themselves be financially knowledgeable persons. The FKP. I'm a better FKP now, so many years later.
Okay, well, you know what? We continue, and you just said something that just brings us back to when we did our media launch. We spoke about, though most of us might know what mental bandwidth
With
depletion
is,
means,
yeah.
most of us don't know that it actually has an impact on the decisions that we'll make about our money. Let's just call it money,
Money.
instead of finances.
Money. Money.
Most of
Money.
us don't know what mental
Yeah.
bandwidth
See,
depletion will
that's
do.
what's going on now.
You see.
Yeah.
We'll do to our finances going forward, right? I'm glad you're laughing at me. You see, see what I have to deal with.
Yes. 2 minutes. Okay. Do we continue?
We do continue. I want your feedback on mental bandwidth depletion.
Yeah.
Don't deplete me.
I won't.
Stay with me.
But here's the thing. When you go to a restaurant,
Yeah.
and they present
Which I
you
haven't been to in
in a
100 years.
but they present you with like a book.
Okay, so
present
they're
you-
very excited because they
Yes.
already get to play games. Okay, while we
They
have to stand
present
on
you-
the stage.
They present you with a book
Yeah.
of wine options.
Right.
How often, like, I've had days where, like, I can't go through the book. I just can't. I'm mentally tired. Make a decision. I'll be like, Elena, pick one. Pick a bottle of wine that you know we're going to enjoy, because I'm tired.
Yeah.
Now, if I feel like that just when it comes to choosing wine
Yes, you're right.
at a social occasion, how much more doing my budget, doing my financial plans,
Sure.
making decisions that
Do you
don't
feel
only
like
serve
that?
me
Yeah.
now, but will be good for my children. That'll be good for my children.
I don't want to ask you about the insights. Those are stuff and information that we'll get later on in our talks. There's a few things that you are excited about. When I mentioned side hustle, you got excited about it. I know that the other thing that you are really passionate about is the position of women. I might as well say it. When it comes to this past 2 years, again with our insights, women have been mostly affected.
They have been, and so I was just, I'm a glass half full person. So here's a good thing. We are seeing more women getting admitted into universities and tertiary institutions.
Right.
We are seeing more women get through their studies and graduate. The problem, though, is that when it comes to managing money at home, there are still fewer women than men who are financially knowledgeable
Right.
persons. So it means when you go on a dinner date or on a girlfriend's lunch, be curious about money. I was saying earlier, people want to talk about our sex lives and dating lives and not money.
Yeah.
It's more like private.
It's harder, you're right.
Yeah,
It's
it's harder
harder
to
for
talk about
people.
money than to talk about your dating life. So we need to normalize financial conversations and actually check on me. How am I doing with my
It's
plans?
interesting that you say that. I had dinner with someone the other day, and the first thing he said to me is, "What do you spend your money on?" And
That's the kind of
thought-
friend I want.
I know,
That's the
and I
kind of
thought how
friend I want.
wonderful and refreshing. No one has ever asked me that.
Yeah, because of how we were raised, right? If you ask your dad, your salary, is it enough to maintain all of us? As a kid, they would tell you, like, you're overstepping. You're just a child. Go to your room, play with your toys.
We didn't have the room.
didn't
We
have
had one room.
One room, but just go watch something on TV or something. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
not because of Madonsela with me. She's looking incredible. I don't want to say, by the way, you look incredible.
Thank you.
It's great seeing you.
It's
Thank you so much for
beautiful.
putting this on the map together with the rest of the team. A Science of Success. Well, talking about our success, we're starting with our program for today. As my virtual audience, you're not allowed to go anywhere. Remember those competitions and details coming up for you. Also, follow the conversation at Momentum ZA. Stay with us. Also, Success is a Science. That is our hashtag for today. So keep on following us. Comment, share your stories. We'd love to hear from you. Now, speaking of hearing, we're going into our first session. I'm extremely excited. UNISA Research Professor Bernadine de Klerk, together with our guest speaker, Dave Fisher. Let's hand over to them.
Good afternoon. After journeying through the bouquet of experiences that is the 2021 festival, I'm sure that many of us will or feel the need to step back and reflect by asking ourselves, what should I do next with my financial life? I feel that today's multitude of experiences represents the way that many of us feel as a result of the pandemic's influence in almost every aspect of our lives over the past 20 months. Feelings such as being overwhelmed, maybe even dumbfounded, and in extreme cases, even hopeless. The danger in feeling this way is that it ripples into all the aspects of our lives, including our financial health. Because our finances affect almost every area of our daily lives, Momentum and UNISA have partnered for 10 years in order to research the financial success of their fellow South Africans. Both of these organizations are truly passionate about your financial fitness. Sharing the stage with me today for the second year, I'm honored to be with Bernadine de Klerk from UNISA. And Bernadine's now going to share the 2021 UNISA Momentum Research findings. Over to you, Bernadine.
Thank you very much, Dave. Always a pleasure to join with you. We do the Financial Wellness Index, and this is the 10th year that we're working with Momentum. And the index is normally a combination of objective measures, where we look at households' financial position, their income statement, their balance sheet statement. We look at their education level, their self-level of empowerment, and then their living conditions. We expanded the scope, as with the journey with Momentum, to include also a lens to financial success. Talking a little bit more to the subjective side of finances, to say, what does success mean? Success the same for you than it's for me? Not necessarily. Success talks about your personal journey to financial wellness, but you need to have goals to get to that journey and to assist you during that journey. So the goals is short-term, as financial success has short-term objectives, but there's long-term goals as well, and that leads then finally to your destination. But what we saw, one of the differentiating factors in the financial wellness journey is the lack of goals that a lot of financial households doesn't have. The financially distressed, those households at the bottom of the spectrum, don't have financial goals or only have one, where the households on the top end of the spectrum has quite a bouquet or a variety of financial goals. So 45% of South African households don't have goals. So if that's such an important part of your financial journey, how do you expect to have financial success if you don't start with the basics? And that's something that is in a person's own control. You can decide to have goals, you can use advice to assist with more sophisticated goals, but you can manage that. We saw across the spectrum a lot of households focus on financial wealth as the goal. But I think the one thing COVID learned is you need to have diversity. You need to look at savings, short-term emergency funds. You need to have long-term debt management. You need to look at risk management. So there's a variety of goals that one should look at. The problem is people don't start with the basics. We also looked at the youth of South Africa, especially the younger group, 24 to 35-year-old. The younger group, although we've got lots of data that they're over-indebted, debt management is not for them a goal. They think it's going to alleviate themselves or disappear by some stage. But if you don't manage for it, it's not going to go away. So taking control of your finances, start with financial planning and start with the basics of our financial goal is definitely one of the key components that can guide into your journey. So Dave, in your experience with being a financial advisor, how can you facilitate or help people to get to the basic foundation of financial planning?
Thanks, Bernadine. I think you said it's right, bang on target.
Yeah.
It's all about going back to basics. And I'd like to share Destination Wealth's philosophy on personal empowerment and financial planning with you. I found that it's a great way to refocus on your finances. Going back to basics always helps. When I present to groups, I often ask the attendees what they think their greatest asset is, and then I give them a clue that this asset is also the best place that they can invest money. And the answers I often get are everything from my cell phone to my bond to a host of different things. Where in fact our greatest asset is something that we call our human capital. So our human capital is the sum total of our experiences, our qualification, our work ethic, and our passion. We all have this human capital, and in some ways we employ this human capital to earn an income. We either work for an employer or we use that ability or talent in our own businesses to create a service or a product which earns us money in return. This human capital is also the saw that we need to sharpen, the proverbial saw that we need to sharpen, because we need to make sure that it stays current, that our abilities are always up to scratch with what's going on in the world. And as far as our career is concerned, we need to be at the forefront. The world is changing at a massive rate. I heard something really great the other day, and it said that change is inevitable, but growth is optional. So the way we grow our human capital is optional. So we employ this human capital, we earn an income. But because this human capital is basically our biggest asset at the start of our careers, we have to really take care of it well. I often do an exercise with clients, where we take the current value of their future earning ability and show it to them, because this value is locked up inside them. And the process of financial planning is, over time, converting our human capital to financial capital in our wealth creation portfolio, which we also refer to as the dam. So because this human capital is initially our only source of income, because we don't have, sorry, I'm just going to take care of this. So because this human capital is our greatest asset, it also poses a massive risk, because if we lose the ability to earn that income, we can no longer live. Our families can't be supported. We can't live our lifestyles. So we need to have some type of risk strategy in our financial plans to protect against that. The income that we're earning needs to be budgeted well, so that we're spending not too much money on lifestyle on the river, but also putting enough money away into our dams to create wealth, so that we're eventually going to have enough financial capital at the end of the game to give us a passive income to pay for our lifestyle. When we're young, we think that day is not coming. We think we're going to last forever. We've got tons of energy. We're going to just be there. We're going to keep the same level forever. But believe you me, it happens to everybody. You're going to either get to a day where you don't want to, or you're not wanted, or you're no longer current. And at that day, you're going to rely on your financial capital to take care of you. If your financial capital cannot take care of you, then you're going to be reliant on somebody else. So this process of financial planning is all about sustainable living, sustaining our short-term lifestyle and putting enough away long-term, and creating different things in our wealth creation strategy, like emergency fund. We all saw with COVID, and Bernadine mentioned as well how important having an emergency fund is. And then we have medium, short, medium, and long-term investments, focusing predominantly eventually on that D-Day when we're not going to be able to work anymore, to make sure we've got enough retirement capital. For more information on this, you all will have received a free copy of my book, Destination Wealth, in your goodie bag to learn more about the philosophy and the story behind. It's critical that we view the disruption of our recent past as a detour and not our final destination. The danger about us as human beings is that we become comfortable with our present realities very quickly. Now, because this pandemic has lasted so long, for in excess of 20 months already, we can easily get used to and say this is the norm. We're used to struggling, we're used to surviving, and we have to break that mold. When faced with disruption, unfortunately, most of us tend to go into a crisis mode and revert back to our old bad habits. This tends to derail our budgets, financial plans, and strategies, and we need to get those back on track. World-renowned communication pathologist and neuroscientist Dr. Carolyn Leaf says in her book, Manage Your Messy Mind, that our toxic thoughts, anxiety, and depression can create a mental mess which is often aggravated by a chaotic world. And I'm sure you all agreed with me that the last 20 months, almost 2 years, has been really chaotic in the world and in most of our lives. We really need to learn to take control of our thoughts and reactions before they become toxic neural networks and destructive habits. So how do we do this? I recently listened to a Lewis Howe School of Excellence podcast in which he interviewed Dr. Ben Hardy. During the interview, Ben explains a concept which I really love. It's something called post-traumatic growth, or PTG. Now, what PTG is, it's the ability to learn and grow in the aftermath of trauma. And one of the tools that he suggests we use is that we all have 3 selves. We have a past self that's looking back on how we were a few years back, or in our lives up to this point. Our present selves, how we are and are thinking today, and then our future lives. Most people don't think about their future self. They only think about yesterday and today. So one of the best ways to escape the trauma is to focus on your future self. I recently read that the reason that most people don't plan for their future is that they don't have anything meaningful to plan for. Scary. This rang really true to me because after dealing with people's finances for in excess of 30 years, I've seen that the people and the clients I deal with who have a compelling vision for lives and futures are on average far more financially successful and content than those who don't. It's critical that we all develop and find our compelling future and work on it to stay on track.
Just quickly interrupt there, and I would like to
Please,
add,
Bernadine.
we also saw from the research, especially from the financial education side, the youth are guilty of being overconfident. So they think they know everything and they can save the world. But when we objectively look at their financial education, it's not what it should be. So I think looking at that future self, what does it mean? How do you resonate it? But don't be so overconfident to think you can do it on your own. It's important. You need to invest in yourself, but be careful what you think you can do.
Very true. I think the thing with the future self is that it's an aspirational goal. So it's something that we have to work towards and achieve.
Yes.
So it's something that we're moving towards. We're not there yet.
Yes,
and we
absolutely.
need to have the attitude that we're constantly learning and adapting.
Yeah.
When we leave the festival today, I really feel that it would be great if all of us had some tips and we were empowered with a strategy that helps us get back on track. And I'm going to share 5 tips with you now that are take-homes or to help you to do just that. Number 1, it's time to stop. Especially with the festive season approaching, let's take time off from social media, stress, anxiety, and really take care of ourselves. Look after yourselves, renew yourself, refresh yourself, and just be kind, just like yourself. Don't escape from the world for a little bit. Secondly, once we've rested well enough and we feel ready to take the world on again, let's relook at our financial priorities, goals, and ambitions. We can then recompile, or if we've never done it before, compile, or if we've done it before, recompile a financial plan, strategy, and budget accordingly. For whatever reason we haven't planned in the past, now's the time to start planning. You don't have the luxury of waiting for another year, 2 years, 10 years. Proper budgeting and planning, however, requires a mindset shift. We have to change the way we think. We have to get out of this survival mentality and adopt a victory mentality. So once we got this plan and strategy in place, and we've got this compelling vision that we need, that we're moving towards, it's important that we stay on it, that we focus on it. So we have to make daily choices in alignment with our strategy, because if I decide to lose weight, for argument's sake, and I write down this amazing goal and strategy and plan for how I'm going to lose weight, and I get up and I go to, and I go to my phone and I order McDonald's from Uber Eats, I'm sort of not making the right choices to live up to my plan, right? So in the same way, once we've got this plan and strategy, we have to consciously make daily decisions in line with that strategy. Do you agree with that, Bernadine?
Absolutely, yes, Dave. And I think last few departing thoughts that you would like to share with them before we sign off.
Okay, so stay focused, and then it's festive season, guys. I said take it easy, enjoy your life, take care of yourself, but don't overspend. Research shows that 76% of South Africans tend to overspend during the festive season. Don't fall into that trap. No amount of pleasure is worth falling into it or dumping yourself into debt. And then finally, and most importantly, Bernadine, and you're going to say something about this as well, I know.
I just wanted to say, didn't start with a debt hangover in the new year.
No debt hangovers, yeah. Finally, we need to get help. Don't be shy to ask for help. When the festival started today, they spoke about, and there's financial advisors, there's financial planners, and there's financial planners, and more financial planners. Get help. A Vanguard study has shown that the coaching and guidance of a qualified and experienced financial advisor on average results in advised individuals outperforming non-advised individuals by 3% per annum. Now, this is massive. It may not sound big, but if I were to assume they had R1 million and a 7% return per annum on that R1 million over a 30-year period, that would make the difference between 15 million and 11 million between advised and non-advised people. When we want to make changes in our lives, a common mistake that many of us ask, we ask ourselves, how are we going to do it? And that's where we fall short. So if I want to do something, I want to learn a new sport and I don't know how, and I stop right there, I say, well, I can't do it because I don't know how. But what we need to learn to ask ourselves is who. So who's done this before, or who can do it for us? And that's where the value of advisors, mentors, coaches, etc. come in. In my experience, in my life, I found that through asking people who'd already achieved the results that I want to achieve, and then being mentored and coached by them, I was able to achieve far more than I would have ever been able to achieve on my own. Mirroring the right people is vital to achieving success. This is a saying that I really love, and I've been saying it to my kids over many years. I think they're really tired of it. And the saying is that you cannot soar like an eagle if you hang around with the turkeys. So if you want to soar like an eagle, you've got to hang around with eagles. Remember, guys, science is a success, but we mustn't allow that, success is a science, but we mustn't allow that to intimidate us. With the right information, guidance, and support, each of you can find the perfect formula for your financial success. Thank you for listening. You're welcome to ask questions.
As a woman, I want the last word as always.
Sorry, I didn't ask.
I fully support Dave and ask for financial advice, but ensure you understand the advice. Take ownership of your journey, empower yourself, and then have engaged conversation. As he said, there's advisors, family and friends, everybody knows best, but you need to ensure you can have an engaged conversation. So please invest in yourself. He spoke about human capital. It's your biggest asset. Use it, enhance it, work on it. Thank you very much for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, welcome to the research panel. We're so glad to have you with us today. Today, being true researchers, our segment is a little bit different. We're going to be asking the questions and you're going to be giving us the answers. So something very, very different, which is great. Also, because we are researchers, we are incentivizing our respondents. So our budget is very small. We have sweets which we will be giving out to the respondent who gave us the best answer, who was the most enthusiastic, and who we felt really gave us their soul. So to kick this off, we're going to be asking our first question, which is...
Monique, sorry, shouldn't we welcome the virtual people that are joining our virtual event as well?
I forgot.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, we're so sorry that you can't be here physically, but due to COVID regulations, we have to keep everybody safe. So thank you for joining us today and for being part. Although we can't hear your questions, you're more than welcome to tweet your answers at #SuccessIsAScience, and we will definitely look at those afterwards. All right, so our question for the day. Tooms, why don't you
So let me introduce everybody. Everybody, welcome those that are alive and those who are sitting here. It's a very fun day. We're sitting in the grass. And the first question today is, what is the Financial Wellness Index score for 2020 when compared to 2018? Any takers? Look, I think let's not get into what is the score. We'll explain the score. Yakulis will get into detail in terms of what it is about. What we're looking from you guys is give me a thumbs up if you think the score went up, or a thumbs down if you think the score went down. What do you think happened?
Down.
Getting down.
We've got smart people here.
Okay.
I would say that is a significant.
Do you think the score went down,
Yeah.
up?
Up or down?
Okay, up or down the score?
The financial wellness score from last year, up or down? All right.
Okay, cool. She says it went up. So let's understand. Let's reveal the question.
All right, let's see what the answer is. And Yakulis, maybe you can explain to us what we're seeing on the screen.
Yes, so thank you very much. I think let's first just give you a quick review of what the index itself is and how do we go about to actually calculate the score. So first of all, the Household Financial Wellness Index is an index that's compiled from a national representative survey that's based on an annual survey. Each year we talk to about 2,500 households. Specifically this year, we were in the fortunate position to talk to 2,868 households. And during that survey, we ask quite personal questions actually on households' income, on their expenses, on financial behaviors actually, and how do they go about with their financial matters. So in this index, we have what we call five capitals. And that five capitals are then used to get in a holistic view of households' finances. So those five components, first of all, we start off with our education. So that is our level of education of households, the highest in the household specifically. Then we also look at income, the income positions, the net wealth positions, their living conditions. So do you own a house? Do you rent a house? What's this structure that you stay in, etc. And then we do have a bit of a more opinion of how in control do households actually feel of their finances. So a bit more of a subjective matter. And that all works together to provide us a view on the Household Financial Index. So on that, as you can see here behind me, the score actually went dramatically down. And I think we all that are sitting here, we can all attest to and say we all experience that. We know from the official statistics, 2.2 million people actually lost their jobs during 2020 alone. That means people or households maybe not earning an income, main income earner losing their job, and then add to that the whole impact of COVID. Actually people losing their lives, their main income earner passing away. So we saw that as well from the five capitals. That is a component that actually decreased the most. So that is our main determinant. Then on the personal empowerment level, people really feel disempowered during 2020 when it comes to their finances. And the two other components that we saw marginal changes to, small decreases in education and then in the living conditions. So it could be that a lot more people actually needed to move to their rent their houses, not owning their houses, etc. And then specifically, the one that I want to highlight is on the net wealth position. You would say, but how could that score have increased during 2020? The overall numbers on the macro level for South Africa, household wealth was actually at a higher level at the end of 2020 than at the end of 2019. Because the JSE recovered. Remember, a lot of our wealth is invested in the JSE. Our pension funds, etc., that's invested in a JSE. So we saw a significant dip in March in the JSE, but it ended at a higher level at the end of 2020 than at the end of 2019. But the problem is, how is that wealth distributed? And a lot of people actually needed to cash out their investments for just to get a proper cash flow, to use that for day-to-day living and groceries, etc.
Yep.
So yeah,
You
that's
can-
it, Monique.
They couldn't look at the future, they had to look at the now, and that's the whole problem. Like Yakulis said, a lot of individuals unfortunately had to cash out, and there are only a select few South Africans who still have their pension funds invested. So our next question is, and I think, Yakulis being a true researcher, she already gave you this answer, so we're not going to dwell on this too much, but we were talking about why did the net wealth increase, and I think Johan Yakulis, oh my goodness. Yakulis has already told it was really about the pension funds. But Toombs, I think it's time for us to take this to the audience, to actually really do what researchers do and ask them questions. So our question is, and Toombs,
I'm going to stand up.
you can roll with this.
Yeah, I'm going to stand up and then I'm going to ask questions around the table, or around the grass, and on our live platforms as well. So what is the difference between short-term goals and long-term goals, and can you give an example of each? So I'm going to come around, I'm going to maybe pick on one or two people, so then I want you to give me what is a short-term goal, right? A definition, and a definition of a long-term goal. Then give me an example of each. I see you've got your hand up.
She's eager.
She's
wants
eager
her
to
sweets.
join.
She wants them.
Okay, you give me that.
So a short-term goal perhaps could be sending your kids to school, right? So you know that next year's fees are 5,000 as an example, and you save towards that. So that's a short-term goal. Long-term goal is something like retirement, and you need to put your money in an investment for the long term.
Oh,
Great.
I see you read the report.
Thank you for that contribution.
But I'm not saying she's right. Let me hear from someone else if there's anything you want to add. How do I pronounce your name?
Just call me Mbali.
Mbali. I'm with Mbali here. Mbali, short term, long term. Give us an example of each.
Let's try. So for me, a short-term goal would be obviously something that's achievable within, for example, within one to 6 months, and perhaps let's say it's to try and lose 10 kilograms within 6 months. and a long-term goal would for me be to perhaps have a home that is my own within the next 2 years.
Wonderful goal to have.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Perfect. Mbali, nice one. I'm going to pick on,
The only gentleman in the
Yeah,
crowd. You kind of
please.
stand out.
how do I pronounce your name? Othello. Othello. Nice one. Othello, give me a definition of a short-term and a long-term goal and the difference between the two.
I think the answers that the two ladies gave was pretty spot on. So a short-term goal is something that you'd like to achieve in pretty much the immediate time. So, for example, like January is coming up now, so you're looking for schools for your child. So do you go public? Do you go private? Do you go homeschooling as a short-term goal, and getting your financial situation in line with that goal? And then a medium or longer-term goal is something you'd like to achieve in, say, 2 to 5 years. So are we moving to a better suburb, a bigger house, or we get a bigger car? Or a second goal or a third goal. That could be something more longer term, as a longer term financial goal.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for those answers.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and everyone was spot on. I mean, when we talk about long-term goals, right, the period component is true, right? It's generally a longer period in terms of goals, like your colleague was talking about the JC. So those would include your pension fund, so saving for your pension, right? Buying a house, paying your bond, that is a long-term, something that you'll probably benefit in the longer run. Where short-term goals are goals that you have in the immediate, right? Immediate to a medium term in terms of, for example, I want to
Go
maybe
on
say
holiday.
go on holiday. That is a short-term goal that you could have.
Have my
in terms-
hair done. Have my nails done.
Exactly.
Those are all short-term goals.
Yeah, make sure that I'm healthy and I've lost enough weight to come to the Signs of Success event. That could be a short-term goal.
Yeah, short-term goal.
Yeah, so those are short-term goals. But what is very key as well, in terms of what we see when we talk about short-term and long-term goals, is there is always a link between short-term and long-term goals. So, and I'll tell you why. So your short-term goals could be saying, I'm going to save up X amount of money every month, which is a short-term goal, for the long-term goal of putting a deposit on a house. So it links up in terms of that. So always remember that short-term goals and long-term goals are linked, and they always sort of feed to each other in terms of that. Thank you.
Of course, and that is one of the keys to financial success and ultimately financial wellness is having goals and making sure that you are working towards them.
Yes.
Definitely. So let's look at our last question. We've got 4 minutes left. So when we look, we've got excitement happening next door here. So when we look at financial success, there are elements that are within your control and elements that are outside of our control. So we all know that things, for example, like COVID, we did not know it was coming. It hit us all. So what are the activities that are within your control and that a household can do to really help us on our journey to financial success?
Yeah.
And Toombs, this is easy you're going to pick on because there's only 2 or 3 people that haven't spoken to us.
So I'll go to the guys that I didn't speak to, and the gentleman at the back, I've noticed you as well. I know you're part of this group. So it's activities. Like this is basically, if I can call it inverted commas, what behaviors do you think you can do that could actually lead you towards your journey to success, right? From a financial perspective. Let's speak to you. So let me sanitize there. We're COVID-friendly environment.
Having goals.
Okay, that's one of them.
That's a good one.
See?
Definitely.
Cool. So she's having goals. Long-term, short-term?
Both long-term and
Okay,
short-term. and just
perfect,
working
perfect.
towards-
Okay, I spoke to you. The lady in white. Sitting in the garden on a white chair. Yeah.
So what you can do on regular activities is to save, start saving, which you can do short-term and long-term. You can have short-term and long-term saving goals, which will help you on your journey to financial success.
Savings very important in there.
Cool.
Definitely.
I'm gonna take 2 more people, and the people I'm gonna take are sitting right behind us, and we can't see them, but I saw them. It's you.
I would definitely say saving, and having worked for Momentum, I'm guilty having a dedicated financial advisor to help me, definitely.
Okay, perfect. So we've got savings quite a lot. I heard advice there.
Yes.
Mr. Paul.
Yes. For me, the short-term activities will be having a budget
Okay.
and plan in terms of trying to minimize your expenses so that you can save more.
Okay. Cool. So I
Definitely.
heard budget there.
It's wonderful
I
to
heard
see the
saving
people
coming
doing
through.
it.
I
Yes.
heard planning. I heard short-term goals. I heard long-term goals. Let's
So
see.
let's see what it says.
Yeah, so it says set and work towards achieving financial goals. Right? And remember, on financial goals, we talk about long-term and short-term, right? Now, as Mbali said earlier on, you can't really sign up a gym membership, which is the goal to say, but if you don't go, you're not gonna, nothing's gonna happen, right? So changed behavior in terms of how you do. So understanding that there was an impact of COVID, what did I need to adjust, and so forth, right? So there's a changed behavior component that needs to come through. And changed behavior sometimes is also how do you sort of budget and implement and becomes quite more disciplined in terms of how you implement. Improve financial literacy. We spoke about get advice, right?
Yes.
Get advice, professional advice in terms of how we can do this. How can you link your short-term plans towards your long-term goals as well in terms of that. And then the other one is obtaining the financial advice in terms of getting people to advise. Like Monique said, sometimes when You could ask your brother or sibling or parent in terms of that. They'll give you the advice based on how maybe they did it in the mattress or how they put the money under the pillow. It might not always be the solution. There's other ways in terms of that. All right.
Jimmy, just a quick statistic, just want to show about the financial plans. We actually ask households then, obviously, do they have financial plans? And we've asked them how many plans do they have, and are they actually on track in achieving these goals that they have in their financial plans? And only 17.4% of our households indicated they are on track with all of their plans. 17.4%.
Which is nothing.
Yeah.
So we're going to leave you with this closing thought. What can your household do, or what can you do to make sure that you're on your journey to success? So what of these insights are you going to implement to make sure that when we sit here next year, you're going to go, guys, I'm in the financial wealth category. And with that, we end our session, but not before, Tumi, you are going to hand out.
We're going to give out, we're going to give out Smarties. Woo, to someone who gave us. Look, everyone's answer was correct today.
Yes.
So this one, I'm just gonna close my eyes. I'm like, I'm gonna throw it. I'm at the wedding. Okay, I'm just joking.
I think the lady in the pink definitely.
The lady in the pink.
Thank you very
so
much for participating.
And everybody as well at home watching us live, thank you so much.
Thanks for joining.
You guys also have our gifts. We're also giving you Smarties, everyone. Unfortunately, we can only hand them
digital Smarties.
Yeah, so digital Smarties for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
If you've just joined in, a warm welcome to Science of Success. My name's Ilana Afrika Bredenkamp, and so far we've talked about the partnerships of Momentum and UNISA. Also, we see you trending and also sharing your stories and your social media posts. Keep sending them. Oh, the light's changing. It's actually really beautiful out here. Hashtag success is a science, and also hashtag advice for success. Now, talking about advice for success, I've got Claire Klassen with me, better known as the lady of CSI. I know that that's not your actual title, but you do a lot of work amongst our youth, our children, teaching financial literacy. Tell me more about what you do and the programs that you do.
Well, we have several programs under Momentum Metropolitan, 3 of them under Momentum and 2 of them under Metropolitan. We work in schools with grade 9 learners. Right now we're dealing in digital because of COVID. Yeah. So we teach financial literacy, basic financial literacy concepts using a board game called Making Money Matter.
Amazing, amazing. Now, inside of this entire beautiful installation venue, you can hear Liesel speaking on stage. There's a whole lot of activations and games. Inside, you have a game that's teaching us something. Inside, people scan their QR code. What are they actually learning in there?
Correct. It is a game, an artificial intelligence chatbot. It is handled by a fintech company called FinEasy, our partner in digital financial literacy. They scan the code, go immediately into WhatsApp, where they need to go through 10 topics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, helping a young entrepreneurial couple through basically choosing financial literacy concepts. Yeah.
Inside your hand, you're holding cards. Now, I'm getting nervous here because, Claire's not just a teacher. She's teaching in schools. What are those cards about?
Well, these cards actually teach needs and wants.
Okay, so you might as well show it to camera. I mean, they won't be able to see everything. I think hold it closest to that one. So what does the actual card show you?
The first one is school books. And very interestingly enough, when I say to the youth in Lansdowne at Life Choices, I've been there recently, what is a need? Is this a need or a want? They say, ma'am, it's no longer a need. And I ask them why? Because everything's going digital.
Wow, that's exciting. So you basically talk about needs and wants and teaching young people, our youth, our school learners from a young age what the difference is between a need and a want.
Basically, because with needs and wants, you'll know how to save your money. Like I was speaking to this young lady earlier, I won't say who wanted a Porsche, and I had to say to her, can I say her name?
No, don't.
I had to say to her, what's more important?
Well, speaking of what is important, I mean, I want to drive a Mercedes AMG. Can I have it?
You can if you work very hard.
So is that a need or a want?
Well, actually, it's a want because because you can have a less expensive car to take you from point A to B. You don't necessarily have to start with the AMG, but you can work your way up up there if you make the right financial decisions.
The reason I brought AMG in is because even though Claire is telling us about needs and wants, you stand a chance of winning an AMG driving experience to the value of 6,000 Rand. Now, in the comment section, you'll see that we're sharing our QR codes. Everyone here, they are having a lot of fun, and I want you to have fun too. So scan the QR code and stand a chance of winning the most amazing driving experience. I've done it before. It keeps me safe on the road, so why not try it as you are part of this amazing event and also working your way to financial success. Claire, I'm going to send you out because I think Carl is in the house. You know, Carl, he's a very important person. I'm going to find his title because I only know him as Carl Bosman. It's been great chatting to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for what you do in our schools.
I love it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We love you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Claire having a chat with us. Claire Cousin, she's in charge of CSI, and she does a lot of amazing and good work with our young ones, our students. And I mentioned Carl Bosman will be joining us. Carl is head of sponsorships and events at Momentum, which means when something like this is put together, they come together and they bring us the best of finances, how to change our behaviors and our habits. But I think you need to tell the story all by yourself, Carl. It is wonderful to see you. I almost want to, it's like I want to say Happy New Year. It's like I want to say good to see you. Happy birthday for September.
Thank you.
Because we just haven't seen each other because of this environment that we're living in. First of all, let's just talk about this event. From where I am standing, it is extraordinary. I wish you could see it. There's a beautiful marquee up. There's all the activations that I will be taking you through virtually later on today. There's competitions that we are running. But most importantly, there's the reason why we're here. The partnership between Momentum and UNISA, and the fact that we have a wellness index and we can teach people things about how to manage their finances better.
You know, Ilana, it's interesting you say that, and I also look at this event. A couple of years ago when we started, it was a boardroom. It was statistics being shared, and we are really proud about the partnership that we have with UNISA. It's 10 years now. But I think what Nontokozo and Charlotte has brought about is to still share the insights, because I think that's what it's all about today. But to do it in a way that is unconferenced, that is fun. People can almost curate their own experience. They move to different spots, and they have the UNISA professor sharing all the insights with them. So for us at the day, it's really to see people, and that's why we call it a festival now, and it's not just a boardroom and just sharing of information. I mean, we have a mirror maze where people must answer questions, and if they go wrong, they're still in the maze. I mean, some of them are still there now.
I was lost in the lip maze for a very long time earlier today. Yeah.
But I think most importantly is if someone can go away today and make 2 different decisions around their finances because of what they've learned here.
Excellent.
Then I think we've won. And that's really the objective of the day.
Now, one of the things we will be discussing later on, stay tuned to where you are, because soon our panel will be discussing those insights, an interactive panel that will be bringing us the insights and learnings around women, youth, SMME, and also our side hustles. Now, the side hustles is the one thing that is interesting me. I definitely want to be part of the conversation. Soon, Monique and Yakulis and Itu Maleng. Oh, I'm such a fan. Itu, it's good to see you. And also, they'll be bringing us the findings of that report in a conversational and in a really easy way. When you see everyone here, and I mean, there's breakaway rooms, but we literally have unconferenced conferencing because everyone's wearing headphones and you choose where you want to sit and be part of. When you see this happening, what does it do for you as an institution that understands education? This is a world first, Carl.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ilana. I mean, we're really proud of it. And I think, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, we want people to have fun. But for some reason, I mean, Momentum talks a lot about we're here for every person's journey to success.
Yeah.
Whatever your success is defined as. And today, obviously, the double click is on the financial side of things. But the truth is, even if you think back to school, there's very little said. There's very few conversations. It's almost a conversation that you don't have.
Yeah.
And when we first started looking at the insights from UNISA, our eyes just went open because we got these insights around South Africans, individuals, families, and they spoke about the wellness of these families. And we then realized that there's a massive depth in terms of or should I rather say a lull in terms of information and understanding. So it's one thing to stand around the braai and this person says that, but to get proper insights, to have UNISA share this with us, and then to empower people on their journey to make the right decisions. You know what's awesome about this? It's not only about finances, it's actually for everything in life. But when you make 1 or 2 good decisions, it puts you on a different path. And that path takes you to a different in destination. So I think that's the key thing. You know, if someone can go away from here and saying, you know what, there was an insight that I've never heard before. I've never heard someone say that about financial matters, and it's actually fine to talk about it. It's cool. It was festive. I think then that's so you asked me, where does it leave me? It leaves me with a warm heart to see that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That leaves you with a warm
Yeah.
heart. Carl Bosman, great speaking to you. Enjoy the rest of the day. I might drag you away from one of the activations later on to have a
You're
chat
welcome.
with you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Carl
you.
Bosman, joining us, giving us some insights there. And I mean, he said it. Earlier we spoke about the fact that money has become something that some people find really hard to talk about. And the minute we can normalize it, we can have a better society and also lead our way to financial success. If you've just joined us, welcome to A Science of Success. I'm Ilana, and I'm on the most incredible stage, one side in the corner, because everywhere it is buzzing. Now, speaking about a buzz, I want to bring our next speaker onto stage before we even get to the rest of our panel, who will be discussing our insights. At our media launch, you had a taste of what Charlotte has to say. Charlotte Nsubunga Mukasa, Head of Marketing for Momentum Brand and Marketing, looking stunning. On her way, every step is a step to financial success. Yes, girl.
Hello, darling.
How are you?
Can
Can
I
you
grab
hold
this?
this? Yes, definitely.
Fantastic.
Charlotte, it's wonderful to see you. You can come a little
Always.
bit closer so
Cool,
that
fantastic.
our camera can you guys still see us? Hey. I think they can. Grant's like
Lovely.
doing a little thumbs
Thumbs
up.
up.
First of all, because I really want to speak to you always, and then I have to
Yes.
talk about formal things, right? So
Yeah.
while my director's not looking, how
Yes,
are you?
I am great, girl. You look fantastic.
Thank you. You look amazing.
Love the
too.
M.
Thank you.
I got one too just for you.
I know I was going to turn it upside down for Wilmington, but then I thought, you know what, just like Carl said, double click on Science of Success
Yes,
today.
that's why we're
'Cause-
here.
Exactly, because that is what it is about. What is incredible is that there is people social distancing being part of what we call Science of Success.
Yes.
What is, based on the launch that we've had, what are you excited about most today?
Gosh, it's the insights, and I know I sound like such a nerd right now, but it's the insights that were unconventional, that left me feeling like this is an aha moment that South Africans actually need to double click on, because there were some myth busting statistics that really got me, like they almost like created a fire in my belly. I'm so excited.
Talking about the excitement, I mean, there's a few things that I'm going to highlight here that I'll talk about to you today. But some of the things that have come up already was the fact that people are saying, you know what, we find it very hard having financial conversations.
That's true.
I had Carl that also spoke about it, about how we can normalize it and have a discussion. Should we sit down? You want us to? Charlotte, please have a seat. Thank you so
fantastic.
much.
I'm not in heels today, so...
You know what? But my heels, I'm cheating, so don't worry about it. And they want us to move closer as well.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
This is
Let's
our
do it.
opportunity to move closer.
Fantastic.
I'm going to move your chair.
Fantastic.
You don't move chair, Charlotte. You
I
look
love the
pretty.
word fantastic, because in Afrikaans, it's what? Fantasties.
Fantasties.
There we
Okay.
go.
Do we look great, guys? Okay. Hi, virtual audience. If you just joined in, Science of Success, we're having fun, and I've got Charlotte in the chair. So I mean, everyone was trying to talk about how to normalize it and how to speak about it easier.
Yeah.
I look at today, and I am so
amazing.
excited because we have everyone here from all walks of life. Women, our youth, people with side hustles.
Yes.
When you look at our audience, I mean, without judging, right? Aren't you excited about how diverse it is? Because here's the thing, we're all
Yes.
speaking one language, right?
We are all speaking one language, and the language is about money. I mean, isn't that quite, I want to say abnormal, but it's not every day. And you spoke about side hustles, hey? Can I show the audience my henna tattoo?
Yes.
I got this done
Oh gosh, that's beautiful.
by a student from the university who is here today, and we are giving her X amount, I'm not telling anyone,
Right.
X amount for every person that actually goes and gets a henna tattoo, because that's her side hustle.
Right.
And she's looking for pocket money for the holidays.
That's incredible. So
So
she does that
talented.
in order to get more money, because let's face it, we can't rely on only bursaries and mom and dad. We have to do our thing.
In fact, statistically speaking of, when I think of the Momentum UNISA Financial Wellness Index, such a long term, 14% of people who were surveyed say that, listen, I need extra money and I'm using my side hustle as an additional income. So
That's incredible. You know what? In our previous years, we also had a discussion about how most people don't go and do the conventional study thing. You know, not all of us go to university. The confidence of the entrepreneur. And then the one thing which I think we are affected by, earlier when Nontokozo was here on stage, we talked about how, again, in this pandemic and in the Insights report, women are most affected.
Yes, you know what was so interesting for me is that as a brand, we are about, we're grounded on advice, yes, but we're about enabling success. And we venture into the topic of being a single mom because a lot of households, let's face it, in South Africa are, hosted, they are pioneered by women. So statistically speaking, when I look at the science of success in particular, it was interesting to see that between 19 and 37% of those households that are led by women, the gender pay gap was quite large.
Right.
But we didn't focus on that. We said, you know what's their science? How are they making it work? And you and I have joked about this before.
Yes.
About, I'm telling you now, guys, there is a science in terms of how you slice, we call it back in the day in the township, ipaloni, not even poloni. There is a science in terms of how you slice poloni to make sure that when you make sandwiches for your children, is kaftin. You're able to make sure that you don't.
It stretches.
Yeah, it stretches because you've only got so much money in terms of your grocery bill every year. So there is a science to that, and there's a science to how it then impacts your money-making behaviors in the home. So slicing the polony is the behavior that actually affects how long your month is, so to speak. But my favorite that I actually apply in my own home, because today is about not preaching.
Right.
I don't know, I might get some people who DM me on social media saying it's not right, so I'm putting myself on blast here, but I switch off the geyser in my household and I only put it on for 2 hours a day because I realized that it took 40% of my electricity bill. So we find ways.
There's two things. I mean, I love how normal you speak about this. And yes, it's great that you're giving us examples because this is our life. We need to be able to start talking about finances. People are breaking boards here, guys.
Oh my,
People are breaking boards and breaking barriers here. That's what we're hearing on the other side. I know. But we want you perhaps to share yours. What have you found out, realized, or even gained from this day so far? Remember our hashtags for today. Hashtag success is a science and also hashtag advice for success. Charlotte chatting to us, if you just joined us, Momentum Science of Success, and also this partnership with UNISA. How incredible. So I want to tell you, our economists, I find them extremely, extremely entertaining and amazing. I think that they are really cute. So that's the one side.
And I know you've got a favorite. I don't know if you're going to tell the world who your favorite economist is.
Wait, and then on the other side, so I see Mr. Clerk this morning, and I say to her, welcome. And she says, oh, Alana, why did they have us here? And I said to her, we want you here for your brain.
That's true.
It is though, right?
I mean, isn't it? Well, today's theme is about mental bandwidth depletion. What a term.
Right.
I struggled with that in the beginning because I was always confusing it with mental wellness.
So even I asked you about that. If you're hearing any voices, that's Liesel. So she is doing the actual event, and I get to sit on this side, and I get to speak to Charlotte. So I mean, one of the things that Nontokozo mentioned earlier is she explained mental health depletion in a very, very basic way. She said, if someone had to bring you the wine menu at the restaurants, sometimes you just don't want to think about it. You go, okay, I'm actually depleted. I don't have the energy. You decide.
I do that all the time with the waiters and waitresses. Like honestly, like I've only got so much bandwidth after homeschooling, Zoom calls, being an executive, being a mom, just trying to be an awesome leader. It can take its toll. So when I get to a restaurant, I'll be like, what do you like to eat?
Now, that's the one thing. So mental bandwidth depletion, right? Here we are. Some of us understand what it means, but not all of us understand the impact that it will have on our finances.
Of course. You know, for me, I struggled with the term. I was experiencing it. I just didn't know it had a name. Let me put it out there. But when I thought about it, there are times when I make very quick decisions that are not well thought through because I'm dealing with a lot. You know, if it's not COVID, if it's not thinking of how do I get into small business and still run my 8 to 5, how do I remain an amazing mom? I always tell my son, he graduated this morning. He's going to grade 1 next year.
I love myself for graduation.
Yeah, graduation. Thank you so much. But it's a lot. because I want to be present for my son. I want to be present at the festival. And sometimes I just can't get to it all. And that just depletes my capacity to make good
Wow,
financial
Charlotte.
decisions.
Right.
I'm not thinking of my pension fund and my retirement fund at times, even my own medical aid, because I'm just like, you know what, can I just deal with the here and the now? And can I outsource that? But you know, there's still, as much as your financial advisor is your accountability partner, you're still responsible for your money.
Yeah, and you need to understand it. And I love how you say that. Don't pass the buck, right? Understand what you're dealing with. What I want to congratulate Momentum and you and the team on is the fact that you're breaking it down in such a simple way. I mean, if you are here and if you're online, by the way, all of this will be available on momentum.co.za afterwards. You'll see how easily it's been broken down for you so that you can, in the next year, make sure that you change your behavior and habits. Also, what is wonderful online right now, you stand a chance of winning an AMG driving experience to the value of 6,000 Rand. All you need to do is scan the QR code, comment, and make sure you interact. Again, follow us at Momentum ZA on all of our platforms. So on Instagram, LinkedIn, on Facebook, as well as on Twitter. Charlotte, before you even go, I mean, we've got the most amazing people on the panel that's discussing the insights. Itu, I know he's got a passion for side hustles.
He does.
I've been talking to
He's
him.
probably part of the 14%, I think.
I keep laughing when I see him because he makes it so real for all of us, you know.
Yes.
What is the one thing that you're excited about this event that, again, is a huge and a very big success?
I am just so excited that the fact that we're using musicians and comedians and students and employees and financial advisors, we've even got government officials here. We're using ordinary South Africans to surface the insights. So I'm glad that we have a space where we're not preaching to people, that they can come to a place where that they're not judged for the money decisions that they have made, but that we empower them to perhaps maybe rethink some of their behaviors and how to create maybe an income without not necessarily having a side hustle, just by changing one or two things in your household. If you can do that amidst Black Friday and everything that's going to come at you, then for me that's success.
Well, listen, this is a success, and I look at everyone around us. They're learning so much already.
Yes.
It's wonderful having you here. I wish you could see what we see. There's people, there's people watching us from all kinds. Now, speaking of which, just again, that panel that will be coming to you shortly is Monique, also Jaco Lees, Itumeleng. They will be unpacking the key findings of today and our UNISA momentum of success and the report around it. While I have you here, I've got some stats, and I see that the team is almost ready for us to go to our next segment.
Great.
But they say it's also quite interesting the following. The research found that 17.4% of the surveyed household felt like they were on track with achieving their financial goals. Now, 17.4% of people are sure. The rest are not. I don't want to ask for advice because this is probably not the right place.
Yes.
But that for me was a shocker.
It is a bit of a shocker, and I think it's because how can you plan for the future if you have a very financially unstable household? If you don't have the capacity to dream of the future? If you can't imagine your child going to Wits or even Harvard? You know, so financial goals does require you to take the time out to think about the future, the now versus the future, and then to put measurable goals that are attainable for your household, not your neighbor.
Yes,
your household. But it does take, you know, some quiet time. So with the busyness of life, sometimes we don't prioritize the things that are going to actually impact us in the future. So I'm glad for the Science of Success Festival, but can I tell you one fear that I have for today?
Yes.
I am terrified.
Oh dear.
Of going to go and use my hand to chop a wooden block in the Momentum Multiply space.
You see, Charlotte, here we don't fear anything. If you can challenge us, we can challenge you. I challenge you to get back on track. Remember, momentum.co.za, our findings after this show and this beautiful festival. But for now, stay tuned to where we are because there's more happening. Stay tuned and follow us right now at Momentum ZA.
Daniels. I'm a clinical psychologist. I trained at Wits University, did my first degree in law, and then did my second degree also at Wits in applied psychology, where I then did my third degree through the International Ford Foundation Fellowship at New York University in New York City, where I did my master's in counseling for mental health and wellness. And while I was living in New York, I trained at the Institute for Human Identity. And upon return to South Africa, I worked at Chris Hani Baragwanath in the adult psychiatric wards, looking after both male and female wards. And then I always say, whether for my sins in a previous or a life to come, I then moved to the west coast of South Africa, where I looked after 7 male prisons on the west coast of South Africa. So if you really want a place to sort of explore your fears, that's the right place to go and do that. And so welcome today for being here for the 10 minutes, and also thank you to Momentum for having me as part of the Science of Success. And today I'm going to talk to you about fear, and talk to you about how overcoming fear can help us to be more successful and to lead more successful lives. So if we start with a really basic idea about what is fear. So what I would invite you to do, and even those that are watching us virtually as well, to just embrace the safe zone that is set up here with all these nice cushions. Imagine that I've got this virtual arm around you to keep you safe. If you can close your eyes for a second. And I want you to just take some time to connect with whatever fear or fears you believe are keeping you back, or that you would like to overcome in your life. And once you've connected to whatever that fear is, you can just raise your hands so I can see. Everyone else's hands are closed, so nobody else can see. Just raise your hand to say that you've connected with that, or you have an idea about what that is. Okay, I see some hands. Okay, and those at home as well, if you can raise your hands, even though I can't see them. Thank you. You can put your hands down. And because fear is such a common human experience, we all have different fears that we have that often will keep us awake at night. It will stop us from doing certain things. And so if we just look at a very basic definition of what fear is, and I thought it's always good to start with a dictionary definition. And that dictionary definition says that, according to the Oxford Languages Dictionary, it says that fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the threat of danger, pain, or harm. And I'm sure none of us need a dictionary definition to understand what fear is. So, if we talk about the word fear, we often also talk about the fight or flight response, which is what we always hear as a synonym when we talk about fear. So this fight or flight response, let me take you to how that fundamentally works. And what you need to understand is that this response is a primitive response. It's a response that is exactly the same as it was for prehistoric man or woman. So in prehistoric times, what we would have seen is predators roaming around. So imagine every other person you're seeing here today is actually a predator that could fundamentally have eaten you. So what it meant is, when we saw that lion, or we even saw that dinosaur, or we saw something coming, that the fight or flight response kicks in relation to fear. And what basically happens there is that adrenaline, which is the wonderful hormone, which then kicks into play, changes certain things in our body. And so one of the first things it changes our breathing, how we breathe. So our breathing becomes a lot more shallow, and becomes, so that shallow oxygen is only pushed to the surface muscles, which then allows us to be able to run like sprinters. So for example, when we see that lion or that tiger or that imaginary dinosaur as the one that just entered here now, then, we're able to almost jump into a tree 3 meters without even needing a head start jump because of adrenaline. So what does adrenaline do? So adrenaline also changes our vision, our field of vision. So normally we have a 180-degree field of vision, but when we have our bodies pumped through adrenaline, we basically have very much tunnel vision, so we can only see specific exits. So it's a bit like when you're on a flight and they say, to note, sort of pay attention to where your nearest exits are, and they do that movement. So it's to allow your eyes to find the nearest exit out of that space. But some of the other things, or some of the more unpleasant side effects of adrenaline is, for example, that many of us when we are in a stressed reaction, we'll feel our belly feeling a bit funny. So sometimes you literally will feel like you need to evacuate your bowels, which is really what your body is trying to do, because that omelette you had this morning, or all the different snacks you had here today, makes you 2 or 3 kilograms heavier just to get away. So if you get rid of it, then you're actually much lighter for the running, and you'll be able to survive whatever it is that is threatening your survival. So these are some of the things that adrenaline does. But now the challenge is that during prehistoric times, when we actually jump into that physical tree 3 meters high, we've immediately used up the adrenaline. And when that adrenaline is immediately used up, it then makes space for the other nicer hormones to come rushing in. And so these are things like dopamine, oxytocin, which then when you've survived something, you go, I made it. I'm safe. Now I can sort of plan what I will eat for supper or what I will do next year or so forth. So the challenge with us as modern human beings is that sometimes the things that we fear are not actually physical threats. Sometimes they can be an email that you get now that says, report back to the office, you haven't done XYZ correctly. Or it can be, the tax man saying, hey, you've paid your taxes for the last 3 years, but it was incorrect. You didn't pay correctly. So now there's this big lump sum which is due to you. Or whatever it is, or with COVID-19, the fear of having been exposed to COVID-19 and not knowing whether you're safe, all of those kinds of things are also fears that cause a stress reaction. So when adrenaline stays in the body and we don't actually utilize it, it can cause some harmful negative effects on our biopsychosocial bodies. So in other words, it can cause us to have sleep disturbance where, for example, we're not able to get good rest. We can't sleep at night, because we've actually got adrenaline still pumping through. So often the words that we use, we often say things like, oh, I feel so wired, I worked so much, I don't feel like I can sleep now, I can't get to a place of rest or relaxation. Our appetite gets impacted because remember, adrenaline cuts off all other non-essential functions. So adrenaline in the body will also impact our libido, for example. Again, it's a non-essential function when you are trying to just stay alive. So when we don't address this adrenaline, the negative side effects will show up in our bodies in the forms of anxiety disorders, depression, digestive disorders. So many people have digestive disorders, which often becomes exacerbated or worsened because of fundamentally, the constant stress reaction that people live in. One of the other common things that also happens when we are always filled with adrenaline consistently is adrenal fatigue, which is sometimes what we refer to as burnout, where burnout literally, is a syndrome whereby your body just goes into a state of collapse where it's difficult to do most things. It's difficult to kind of get up in the morning because the adrenal glands that need to fire to give you that adrenaline to just get going have just stopped working. So it's almost like running completely on empty, like a car that has no fuel in it. You just can't get going. And so what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to encourage people to be able to deal with fears to reduce, for example, the anxiety and the lack of safety that they experience as a result of that. And so part of one of the ways of how I've been involved with Momentum is to through the science of safety, actually, which Momentum Insure had a process whereby the web series, which was playing throughout the day here. In that web series, there were several influencers who each overcame whatever fear they had. So, for example, Nicole from Survivor overcame her fear of heights. Jessica overcame her fear of staying alone in an abandoned house. Somebody else overcame Zimani overcame his fear of driving in wet conditions. And we use the science of safety to help people to be able to tackle a fear in a very simple manner, which then helps us to overcome it. So how does the science of safety actually help? So the science of safety says if we tackle things in an environment that is clearly defined, a bit like imagine our pod here, it's clearly defined, and even better, you're clearly defined by your headphones as well. Then if things are reliable, predictable, and they're simple as well, then already that creates a safer environment with which to overcome a particular fear. And so with Nicole's fear around the fear of heights, it was really wonderful to take her up to the top of the Orlando Towers in Soweto to be able to sort of bungee jump from there. But there was such a process to get her there. And what was really funny is that some of the camera crew themselves only realized in that moment that they were afraid of heights of heights themselves. So I was fundamentally the only person who didn't have a fear for heights, trying to manage this whole team of people who were quite petrified of heights. But needless to say, Nicole's feedback was always that, when she did that jump, she released so much. Because what I said to her, one of the things that she can do is to think about things that she would like to let go of, as the campaign was also called "Let Go, Let's Go." After she did the jump, she said, I didn't only overcome the fear of heights, but I also overcame whatever I was thinking about in that particular point in time. So back to today, which is to make the link with also that as the science of success is focused a lot around financial success, so finances are, is one of the things that can cause a lot of fear for us, which leads to a lot of anxiety, which leads to us being unable to sort of reach our potential or reach our fullest potential. So, if we take care of our fears, then in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where we know that our basic needs for things like air, water is the first need. The second need is the need for safety. And without those two at the base of that pyramid, we aren't able to move to the other needs, such as the need for, the need for esteem, the need for belongingness, the need for self-actualization. So safety is actually an important component to lead us to be able to get to that fundamental sense of being the ultimate versions of ourselves. And so today, I really want to invite you to explore the following ways in which you can overcome these fears. So the easy way, obviously, is some fears that maybe are a little bit more deeply ingrained in our psyche may require us to see a psychologist such as myself or a psychotherapist to work through that fear in a psychotherapeutic sort of framework, or to use other tools such as mindfulness. Because often a lot of the fears that we have are future-based. So whatever we fear is often based in the future. It's never based in the here and now. It's based in the future. And often the stories that are created are future-based around, this is not going to go so well, what if that goes bad? Catastrophic thinking. And so mindfulness helps to keep us in the present. So just a quick definition there. So mindfulness is the practice of staying in the here and now without judgment. And so things like meditation, things such as systematic breathing relaxation exercises can help to bring us into the present so that our minds don't create additional stories around the fear, as often does. Often we are so distracted from what's actually causing the fear because our mind creates so many narratives or stories around other things that's going on, which actually aren't really going on, because fear is often irrational. So I really want to invite you to, to sort of look at what fears, whatever you raised your hand for, in terms of the fear that you had in mind, to use the science of safety and to use the resources available to be able to take that fear on so that you can really be prepped and set and ready, for the actual science or the most success of your life to be able to get through. So if you want to, there's lots of resources on the Momentum website. You can also, I encourage you to watch the web series, the Let Go, Let's Go web series, where you will see in each of the episodes, you'll see how each of the influencers overcame their particular fear, and you'll also see some of the tools that I provided them to be able to get, to get through that particular fear. So I want to thank you for your time, for the 10 minutes that you came here, and I'll stick around for a little bit if you want to have some more questions that you would like to ask around fear or anything else like that. You may just have to take off your headphones so that you can hear what I say back to you. So thank you very much for coming, everyone. Okay, thank you. So the web series is on Momentum's YouTube page, and it's just Momentum, right? It's just Momentum. So it's just on Momentum. So all of the episodes are there. So you'll see the different processes that each of the influencers went through. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Are you getting another sticker? So I've got no stickers. I won't win anything. Nothing. I think it's going to play now. Isn't this supposed to be playing?
Inside, we'll be showing you some of the installations on the inside. In fact, there is the most incredible maze that I'm terrified of. Earlier I got lost in it because you need to get the answers right, okay? And then there's art and beauty next to me. I also have an opportunity to speak to probably our youngest entrepreneur that's joining us. Please introduce yourself to our beautiful virtual audience as they are commenting and probably at this stage rooting for you.
Hi, my name is Princia Matungulu. I am an artist. I just finished my studies, and I'm glad to be here today.
Now, I've seen the most incredible wall on the one side. I see an installation on the other side. It belongs to one of our other artists. Tell me more about what you have created here.
So here we have one of the works from my recent body. It's called Somme S'allonger, which is French for we lay. In my works, I explore processes between women, shared processes, and how these processes influence our identity and how identity construction is formed from there. Wow. So in this work, I make use of African wax print, as I'm Congolese, and the first print I got was passed down from my mom. And in this work, I explore twanga, which is pounding, and we pound cassava, we pound food in this mortar and pestle. And I look at the parallels between pounding and breaking down the food, and how my mom breaks down these stories for me, or tells me like how to be a proper woman and what a proper woman means. And in my work, I then take all this interaction, this process, and I thereafter, construct or deconstruct the African wax prints and reconstruct it through weaving, the back and forth movements of the weaves, the making the forms, and it's all like an entrancement and meditation, a process of rest, sort of how I want people to view the process of twangering, not just as a labor or like this chore that women have to do, but it's a sense of community, where women get together. Sometimes we sing, sometimes we laugh, sometimes it tells me like little secrets, and it's beautiful, and it's just beautiful, and that's what I want to like show in my work. Yeah.
I'm so proud, and I'm so impressed because, we're surrounded by so many different facets of, like you say, breaking down, going back to basics. Even when it comes to our insights, it's wonderful to see you, and I hear how even in art, we bring things back to the basics. Today, we are extremely proud of how these insights are being brought to not just our virtual audience, but everyone here in such practical and digestible forms. Being part of this amazing festival, what's your message to our virtual audience?
Well, there is a science to success, and why we have these artists in this space was to also surface that there's a science to art. And even as these artists are telling me their stories, I see commonalities between what they're doing and what we to convey today. For instance, what they do is passed down from generation to generation. It's the same with financial lessons. These ladies' financial behaviors have been molded from generation to generation. They saw how their mothers created stuff, and they've taken this and they pour it into their art. But it's the same with finances. And some of the art, what is today art, was ordinary items, and they've now elevated it into art, but their mothers used it for utilitarian purposes, and now they are able to make this craft and make a living out of it, and hopefully a sustained living out of it. And this is why the insights are important, because they too, like what they've learned from their mothers, are supposed to help guide them. For instance, a financial plan, financial advice, those things are meant to sustain their careers so that they get to their financial success nirvana.
It is incredible because as you're speaking, there's the most beautiful music that is busy filling this room, and I'm almost getting emotional. Thank you so much for your time. All the best. We love you. You're incredible. I'm going to take it to more art, seeing that we're breaking things down literally and we are finding our success. Look at this. You are incredible.
Thank you so much.
Tell our virtual audience who you are and what you have created.
My name is Kutlwano Munyai. I'm an artist, an art researcher as well. I'm based in Pretoria, and in my work I experiment with plastic, I paint as well. So I major in sculpting and painting. And the work that is exhibited today, one of them is titled Raised on a Mat. And the one that you're looking at right now is titled A Prayer Before We Eat. So basically this work is a crocheting piece that is made out of both recycled material and your refuse bags as well. So basically it's a skill that I learned from my grandmother, my mother as well, and so it's considered traditional. So what I wanted to do with the work was kind of elevate what they used to do. The main thing that they did was actually beautify their own spaces. They would make their mat for the floor, they would make your placemats for the tables, they would cover their own TV stands, beautifying their own spaces and actually making the most with the little that they had. So I wanted to bring that out and elevate that process on its own, the craft on its own, and kind of and present it in a contemporary manner, to bring out new conversations both from my maternal lineage about their own historical experiences, together with my own experiences as well, as a young woman in South Africa as well, who's trying to actually make it as an artist, as a businesswoman, as well as a researcher within the arts as well, which is so important for me,
We will support you, and we'll always be here to enjoy every bit of research and to also support your talent. I think you're incredible. And isn't it wonderful how we brought art and everything else together in insights when it comes to our finances? Outside, we also have some amazing entertainment as we're breaking things down through poems, entertainment, our art, in order to understand insights. And we're definitely breaking down information around how to understand our finances. From our team side, I think we're going to go outside to our entertainment. Remember, follow us on Instagram at Momentum ZA. Be part of this conversation. It's so beautiful here, and I really hope that you can feel the vibe and also all the education through all the most amazing feelings through this virtual stage. But hashtag success is a science. Share your pictures, your images. We'd love to hear how you are. Take part in the competitions. Also hashtag advice for success. It's time for more entertainment. Seba Kapstad is on stage.
You're missing the point, you're looking around, searching for an exit cause you wanna get out, no. You wanna get out, oh no. Call me, why don't you call me instead of calling me out? Call me, why don't you call me instead of calling me out? Call me, why don't you call me instead of calling me out? You're calling me out, no, no. Now why you always seem unpleasant? You won't tell me, but you tell your friends, and they want it to end, don't even pretend. Trying to tip you over when you're sitting on the fence, no. Ooh, call me, why don't you call me instead of calling me out? Call me, why don't you call me instead of calling me out? Call me, why don't you call me instead of calling me out? You're calling me out, no. Sometimes it gets messy, I wish that you'd understand. Sometimes I wish we'd take it back to the way that we danced all night. Getting ahead of ourselves, making wedding plans. I want a DJ and you say you wanted a band. Play fine, we don't even talk no more. How do we mess this up? What are we doing this for? I guess that's just our love. Why don't you call me? Why don't you call me instead of calling me out? Call me, no, no, no. We'll figure this out. So why don't you call me? We'll figure this out. So why don't you?
Thank you so much. I'm Manana. I hope you guys have had a great afternoon. Up next, we got the lovely Zoe Modichak. So please.
Ah, there it is. Give it up for Manana. So honored that we get to be a part of a world band called Seba Kapstad, which is the song that you heard earlier on. And of course, a Grammy award-winning songwriter representing us. My name is Zoe Modichak, and I'm also here to do a few songs. And yeah, you're welcome to let loose, have a good time. Good vibes. Wadala umdali, wadala abantu, ebadala ngemicabango yakhe. Wanelege moyeni ebafanisana wabaniga ithemba lakudala. Umasinga zizifiso ezabaphambili, amaphupho akudala sizowafeza kanjani na? Wadala bantu ebadala ngemicabango yakhe. Wanelege moyeni ebafanisana Time. Love it. Looking laid back. This is a beautiful song. Speaks about how we're all gods amongst us. I believe people, if we were to look at our God, it's a lot better. This next song is called Isekazini because every is inside of you. everything that is inside of every one of us. Something not worth seeking out, but something that we already possess. And that reality and that knowledge is enough for us to change and shake the world. Just the awareness that everything that you need is already in your DNA. Doing the song, thank you so much for having us. Shout out again to Manana and to our band Seba Kapstadt. My name is Zoe Mudecha. I'm here with Banda Banda, Kurt Petrus, and Mondli Khumalo. just nengane, sinengane, sinengane.
What an amazing performance, eh? Some of the members from Siba Kapstadt, and here I am inside, and on the other side is our maze. Do you want to see what it looks like? If you just joined us, welcome to Science of Success. So you'll see my cameraman. Please show them where you are. Hi. And I'm inside this maze. Now, I have to tell you, earlier I got lost inside here because this is a place that you need to stand and navigate yourself through different mirrors that could lead you to the wrong path. Is it this way? No. You see what I mean? Okay, so it's the other way. I'm just going to turn my cameraman so that you know where to go. So you go back, I go here. For instance, in here you have insights and statistics like more than 60% of distressed households stated that they tend to rarely take responsibility for their own futures. Sometimes things are so current and we're wondering about everything else except our finances, right? Things 60% of unstable households do not have a clear vision for their futures and find it difficult to face reality, while 40% can really and take responsibility for their financial future. So those are some of the insights that in this beautiful. Hello, how are you? You see, and you find lots of artists and people in here as well. I know why you say it, because you got lost, right?
Yes. I'm trying to understand this work.
What do you think the most far?
Very difficult, but interesting as well.
It is. You see yourself the whole time, right?
Exactly.
But isn't that I think the essence of art and also our financial success? Like,
I think so you can see yourself, like reflection, sort of like how you, when you're your finances and what you do. I don't know, but it's not. It's a very overwhelming feeling to see yourself all the time.
It is overwhelming. I would imagine at times, to have to make the decisions. See what I mean? So your instinct would want to go. Okay, it's not that way. It is actually. Okay, so I'm gonna help you. There we go. This. All right. So let's read. So more than 90% of unstable households are in the low and very low income category. 1,500 Rand per year. What's great about these is, and I just had a discussion with someone earlier where we talked about women who obviously in a COVID environment and with our insights didn't do so well. We have the opportunity to improve on next year and literally use these insights in order to build a better financial future for ourselves. What's wonderful is that if we have to change only one or two habits, we will improve, we will save, and for ourselves much better. Is this up for take? No? They told me to not touch it. Sure. I will leave it alone. There's also other people. This guy. What's your name?
Anthony. Hi.
Hi, Anthony. Anthony is not the show. What are you doing here?
I'm just.
All right. Bye-bye. See you. You see, Anthony. understand what it's all about, please go to momentum.co.za and download it so that you can. I'm lost in our maze. So clearly, with our households, I have got no idea. It's not this way. This is a maze for a reason, right? So if you just joined us, we are live, and this is the Science of Success. Guys, I don't know where to go. Is it this way, right? Okay. Science of Success. We are in our maze, and we're learning about our households. A big thank you to Momentum that has partnered with UNISA for the past 10 years in order to make this possible. Even some financially well households feel that they are not always able to deal with challenges and to solve problems, are pushed around in life and not responsible for their futures. I want to stay here just with that thought and just think about what we discussed earlier. I had a chat with Charlotte and Nontokozo. You guys are amazing. Karl Bosman, I also had an opportunity to chat with them from Momentum, and they talked about mental bandwidth depletion. We are in a position where we are tired. We want to make decisions or not make them at all. And even though we understand what mental health depletion means, we're at a point where we don't realize that it can actually influence your finances. So I think one of the findings and the insights that were really amazing for me was exactly that. The fact that can you come with me, please? The fact that we could unpack that and literally see this is not the way out. Hey. And literally see, this is the other installation that I love. Earlier, when I got lost in the maze, I ended up at all these masks. And it talks about a pandemic and lockdown. Let's not forget that we've been through a really difficult time. And most of us see survival as the fact that we survived our health. And so we are very happy that you are with us, and we're going to help you build a successful financial future with today's insights that we're finding. Team, where are we going? Is it the other way? It was the other way, this way. Okay, come with me. All right, so next up, I'm going to hand over to Kawe, but I'm going to show you the rest of the venue quickly. So once I get out of this, oh, there we go. No, this is not it. Once I get out of this maze, no. Oh, yeah. Once we get out of this maze, I will show you the rest of the venue and how beautiful it is. Okay, so follow me. Here we go. Karl that I spoke to earlier, he's standing right here mingling with the rest of everybody. Look how amazing, right? So soon we're going to go to the think tank and go through the games. There's plenty of games that, if you follow me, that I'll take you through later on that you can play in order to be financially successful and well. Hi there, how you doing? Good to see you. There's food everywhere. People get to play games. Look who I just found. Okay, so you have to follow me. I see something. I see a J something. Hello.
What up? Hello there.
How has your day been?
Magical. Like, honestly, like so inspirational. I feel revived. Yeah.
The one thing about Jay something, right? Even though he sings about girls and chocolates and the one thing that I know about you is that you enjoy meaningful conversations. Today's Insights is about our money and our finances. Have you been inspired?
Yeah, definitely. I think specifically from like a home perspective, family perspective. I think that money always tends to be in the group of like work and business. But I think today I really took away from like, I got to plan and budget and work towards ensuring that there is things for us to do as a family and plan those things from a financial perspective. So yeah, very inspired.
You're an artist, and COVID has, and one of the things I mentioned, has just almost depleted us, right? Even mentally. Yeah. How's your head doing? I mean, let's get real. There's a virtual audience who are all fans of you, and we want to know how you are too.
That's been my favorite thing about today. I think that the theme is so relevant and so on point, and I think even prior to COVID, it was, for me, it's a fundamental part of who I am, is exercise your brain power, keep healthy mentally, because I think from there stems everything. So mentally, I'm actually in a super space. I think COVID allowed me to actually take a breather, take a pause, and really work on being present. So I'm here, I'm in this moment, and I'm loving it.
Well, I told you, there's always Jay something. If there's nothing, you always get Jay something.
Or Jay everything. Yes.
Is this an opportunity for a song? It is, hey?
Yes.
Okay, and now Jay Something will perform his latest track that he found all about finances.
No, not
and-
about finances.
About mental.
No, it's just one of my songs. I've got songs. I don't
Oh,
need- yeah, I've got
not a
some
new
songs.
one. I was hoping for a new song.
Now you're putting
Okay,
me on the spot,
The Streets.
No. Love you, Ami. Love you, Ami. Celung bambi sandla sami. Sihambe.
Yeah, Sihambe. Well, here we go. Thanks, Jay Something. That was incredible, right? He's just amazing. I was going to ask him about Avi's ice cream, but I don't think I should do that, right? So we're heading to corporate at the moment. What is great is that Kawe and her team, they are ready for us. So far, we've got a small audience that's also surrounding them at the moment. She is the CMO of Momentum Corporate, Looking Fly.
Thank you, Lana. How are you?
I am terrific, and I feel like Science of Success has just again empowered us to do so much.
It really has. This is such an exciting day, and as Momentum Corporate, we're just really excited to be part of it. We were not here last year, so here we are.
You know what? You weren't here last year, but I hope that you went to momentum.co.za to download our insights.
Of course, of course we did. And the insights, I think, have also helped us as Momentum Corporate. We've recently been on a journey to really define who we are as a business. And guess what? Insights from UNISA.
Well, congratulations on the 10-year partnership with UNISA. It's wonderful to see you and the rest of the team here. I'm going to allow you to do your thing. I'm going to come and grab this microphone shortly, but I'm going to hand over to you. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thanks, hey. Thanks for being here. Hello.
Okay, so you can take this one for me.
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Kawe Gazim Digane. I'm the CMO of Momentum Corporate. Welcome to our Momentum Corporate activation area. On stage with me, hi, is Pumla Motsa. And Pumla is an occupational therapist. You might be wondering how we fit into the entire Momentum family. We are Momentum Corporate. We're a business unit of Momentum. And what we do, we are in the business of employee benefits. So we provide employee benefit solutions for corporates. So we target the C-suite decision makers. You can think of them as your CEO, your COO, your CMO, and really, or even HR exec. These are all the people that ultimately make the decision in terms of which employee benefits service provider they are going to use. So that's really our primary target audience. And then we also partner with financial advisors, and these financial advisors, help us to really get to the target, our end user, which is the member. And ultimately, the end member is the person that we focus on. So the end member, we really try to empower them on their journey to success. And what you're going to see today is a live demonstration of our strategy in action. In the past, I would say about 9 months, we have been defining who we are as Momentum Corporate and really who we are and what we stand for. We are the business that prioritizes the human experience. In terms of what that means, we are saying that we want to connect emotionally with our target audience. We want to make sure that our target audience understands what employee benefits are about from the jargon that is used that is quite complicated. We want to demystify employee benefits, and we also want to, like I said, connect emotionally with our end user. So what you're going to see today, like I said, is our strategy in action, and it's a live demonstration of how we're going to bring our strategy to life. And Pumla is here, and we're going to have an economics demonstration. And basically, as Momentum Corporate, we say, if you really make sure that you look after your employees, then your employees are going to be very productive in the workplace. They will help you to make sure that your business is successful. So our campaign that we went live with is the success of your people is our business. And over to you, Pumla. Guys?
Okay. So we're going to start by talking about pain.
So when we're looking at pain, pain is something that we see in the clinical setting. As an occupational therapist, I spend a lot of time helping people who've already experienced pain. And because of this is why we want to look at it from a preventative point of view, to make sure that the pain that you're potentially experiencing, we can minimize that, or preferably actually just prevent it from occurring. Pain is defined really as a sensory input to your body that can impact on your productivity and your ability to do your work, which is why we really want to focus on minimizing that pain or removing it totally in order for you to be able to work productively, not miss work because you're going for therapy sessions, and rather smash your goals and do everything that you would like to do. Now, when we're looking at ergonomics and how ergonomics fits in with all of this, is really looking at how long you're sitting for. So the long periods of sitting we see will impact on your ability to work productively. The second thing we look at and encourage is that you take breaks and you avoid awkward positions. Now, I'm going to take a minute and show you a little bit about the postures that we're talking about and how that this can be improved so that you can work productively and not experience pain to a significant level. So if you will follow me to the session here, I'm going to show you the positioning. So we've got a audience coming through. You can come through. Thank you very much. Hello, Karen. Nice to meet you. Do you work from home, Karen?
Bit of both. I work from home and office.
Okay. And when you're working from home, what type of chair do you sit on?
I do sit
on an office chair. Okay, awesome. So let's use that. Okay, so Karen works at home and she works on an office chair. So we're going to sit her in an office chair so you can have a seat. And I'm going to ask you, Karen, do you use a laptop or a computer?
A laptop.
And with your laptop, do you have an external keyboard and a mouse?
No, it's part of
It's just
the
like this.
laptop.
Okay. So what I really wanted to look at is to recreate Karen's positioning at home so we can have a look at how she would be working. The goal of ergonomics is really to look at ensuring that a neutral position is attained. So that's what we're going to do here. So you are going to make as if you are typing for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I put this down?
Yes, you can. So as Karen is typing, or pretend typing, we're going to look at her positioning. So we're looking specifically at her neck. So if you can move your hair just back a little bit, Karen.
There's a lot of it.
I want you to focus on her chin position and on her neck position. So we want there to be a neutral positioning. So in order for us to do that, Karen, we need to be able to lift the monitor up so that you're not bending. So I have paper stacks, or you can use boxes. So we're just going to pop this underneath here. And you can already see from lifting up that Karen's eye height is much better. So this is what we would call a neutral eye position. The key with ergonomics is that your vision will drive your posture. So when the laptop is positioned down, Karen would bend her neck and would be typing in this position. But what we're actually looking for is to elevate it so that we have a neutral position like that. So that's basically tip number one when we look at the ergonomics. Now, I've created another problem, right? By lifting it up now, you're typing at a higher level. And we don't want that. We don't want her shoulders elevated. So what we'll introduce now is a keyboard. Okay, so we need an external keyboard. And when we look at external keyboards, there are different sizes and there are different types. So this one is a smaller framed one and this one is a larger one. Because of Karen's frame, I'm actually going to choose the shorter one that has the numbering at the top and not the side. So we're going to use that. And so when we're looking at the keyboard, what we're really looking for is if I could draw a straight line from Karen's shoulder all the way to the keyboard is what we're looking for. Is that comfortable for you? Okay. So the next thing, which is tip number 3, is the positioning of a mouse. So again, with the mouse, we want it to be in a neutral position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the keyboard slightly here. So you want that B almost at your belly button area. And then you want to have the mouse at a straight line from there. So what we're looking at in this position is that she needs to be comfortable in neutral and be able to look at the keyboard. So now
we've done 3 out of the 5 aspects. The 4th one is actually the chair. So you use an office type of chair. Typically, office chairs will have 3 settings. The armrest should be able to go up and down. So I'd expect yours to be able to do that. The whole seat goes up and down. And the actual backrest can go backwards and forwards and tilts backwards and forwards. So what I'm looking at now is I'm going to look at your knees. Okay, and the positioning there. And I can see that your feet are slightly higher. But what I'm actually also looking at is the elbow. And before I do that, I just want to make sure that there's a straight line. So I'd like you to raise your seat a little bit higher. Just a little bit higher. The button's over there. So Karen is lifting her seat a little bit because what I'm actually looking for is for her elbow and her desk to be at a 90 degrees so that it rests comfortably on there. And the other thing with the armrest is that if she's tired, she should be able to use that armrest. Okay, so that's tip number 4, the positioning of your chair. Now the 5th and final tip is you can see that Karen's feet are now dangling, yes, and are raised. So what we would want to do is we'd want to take a box and put it underneath your feet so that you're in a neutral position because we want your feet firmly and flat on the ground and be rested on there. Okay, so would you think you'll be able to do this at home? Awesome, thank you very much, Karen. Okay, so if you had a fixed chair, let me show you. So Karen has asked, looking at a fixed chair, what we would look at. So if you have a dining room chair, what we basically do is that we dress it. So what we dress it with is we can dress it with like this because it makes it nice and soft, and so then you can use it, right? So you can like use it on, and then you'd want to get like cushions or something. And what you're basically doing with the cushions is that you're raising them so that you're in the right position. So if you sit on that, you'll see that it's already raised it up a bit. Because if you don't have the advantage of a chair like that, then you can always use a set chair to be able to do that, and you still get the same results. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Okay. Thanks.
Well, we're in the think tank area, and I've been thinking a lot because I've got Annika next to me. It's incredible to see how through working with games you can have financial success or learn and also get some of the insights. Quickly give us an overview of what exactly happens here.
So it's just games with questions and getting people to think about what they think runs the economy, what youth and women do, or how finance is impacting them, and yeah.
So everyone's been having a really good time, and I'm not going to miss out on this opportunity. Okay, so what happens at this game? It says, what type of business makes up the backbone of SA's economy?
What do you think, Ilana? Is it big corporates or formal and informal SMEs?
I think it's this one, all right? So I peel a sticker off, and that way I have participated. Okay, so think. That's one way that you can play a game. I'll be back with you now. So I'm going to take my cameraman because there's more happening here. In fact, I'm coming to how are side hustles born? All right, so how are side hustles born? Who's here with me, Annika? Is it you?
Is it me? Yeah, it's me. So how do you think they're born? Most people think it's an additional income, knowing with COVID and the economy. But most of them begin with a passion because you've got to have passion to keep going.
It's also attaining financial freedom, and so I want to make my mark too. I think it's coming from living out of passion, so I'm going to make a mark over there, and I'll just put Ilana there for interest's sake, just to make it interesting. Otherwise or was it anonymous?
Yes.
Then I'll take my name out just so that they don't know it's me that made that selection. I think that's good enough, right? Okay, good seeing you. So there's more happening in the think tank area. I'm with Yakuliz. She's a lot of fun. Hi, Yakuliz.
Hi, Ilana.
Okay, so we are at are women more or less inclined to be financially distressed? What do you think?
Well, Ilana, the research shows that they are definitely more financially distressed than men. And there are many reasons for that. Could you maybe think of any reason for that?
So a part of me thinks that we know how to work better with our finances because we have to juggle so much. But what are some of the research? What does it say?
Yeah, well, a lot of the women-headed households are actually single women, and they don't have the financial support of a long-term partner having to help with the finances. So, and a lot of family and friends also come to a lady or a woman actually to ask for some financial support when they need financial support. So she's in a firefighting mode, having to deal with still the discrimination we stereotypically see at the organizations, earning less than men, and having to take care of household matters.
That's incredible, you know. And I mean, earlier when we spoke about it, it's not something that we went into. We didn't talk about the actual findings. And it's crazy hearing you say that because women are most affected. Do you think next year when we come back to this amazing event that things will look differently?
Well, we're really hoping so, because what our research shows is that women are starting to turn to tertiary education more as well, and starting to finalize their qualifications, so that will give them a better position in the organization when they can graduate.
Well, that is incredible. There's more happening here. I think Yakuliza's got one more game on this side. I love how you call them games, but actually we're learning. It's education.
It is educational. Yes, definitely.
What happens at this stand?
Right, here we focus more on the financially knowledgeable youth, so that's anybody under 35 years of age. And we want to know what is it, one of these answers falls within the top 10 financial goals of the youth under 35 years old. Which one would you say it is? Having a signed will, tax and estate planning, long-term investment, or financial, of having a funeral policy?
Okay, so one of the things that I spoke to when I even spoke to the corporate guys is that we're still in a position where most of us don't have a will and testament. And even as much surprising as it sounds, it's not a lower LSM thing, it's not an educational thing. People actually can't establish why people don't put a will in place, or they think they own nothing, so they don't do that, right? But they don't understand that they could perhaps be earning from an institution in terms of contributions, so they need to have a will in place. So it's definitely not that one. I think it goes on to which of the following forms part of a financial knowledgeable youth household top 10. Should I do it? Okay. All right, what is the insight?
So you are quite correct. Yeah, the youth do have a very short-term financial focus. They are very confident when they speak around finances, but they are really less financial literate, and they make very short-term decisions. Yeah.
Yakuliza, it's great having you here. Thank you so much for your expertise. It's wonderful to bump into you. I could speak to you for hours. And thank you so much for sharing our success with us. Now, you can follow us at Momentum ZA. Do so right now.
Siyathandana bazamile usohlukanisa uhluleka abaphansi bavumile ukuba sifanelene thina sobabini nasikunye ndiyajabula sonwabile siyathandana bazamile usohlukanisa uhluleka abaphansi bavumile ukuba sifanelene thina sobabini nasikunye ndiyajabula
What an amazing performance. DJ Sinclair coming to you live from the Science of Success. A big thank you to Momentum and Unisa. What an incredible event. So while they are continuing the magic on stage, we get to be with you. But I've been dreading this moment, okay? I'm next to my old friend Ronald. I've known him for 100 years. And today, why did they even bring you here?
Because they knew you were going to be here. So it's literally bringing two powerhouses together after such a long while.
But there's power in breaking barriers, and so that is what this is about. Tell me more.
It boils down to the principle of kintsugi. No matter what you've gone through, no matter what you may feel have broken you, when you heal it and you fix it with glue and some glitter and gold to make it pop, you become stronger and more valuable. Let nothing hold you back. Break that barrier with the support and the skill. You've got it for the rest of your life.
From the art and everything here today, and if there's one thing that I can take from Momentum Science of Success, it's the fact that we're breaking it down to basics. When it came to our art, we go to its rawest form. When it comes to explaining our finances, Momentum and Science of Success just broke it down to consumable, edible, chewable nuggets that we can all understand. In breaking barriers, what would you say is the most digestible nugget and tip that you can give me?
It boils down to you can do it, and it boils down to action. So don't live in the theory and the story, live in the action and let it infuse you with energy.
Okay, so how do I infuse my energy to breaking these planks?
AKA the barrier. All right, so you're right-handed, you're going to take a lot of focus. I'm going to teach you a simple technique, and I'll be the support to hold the barrier for you. And then we pray, and then we act.
Okay, here we go. You pray, I act. Follow us right now at Momentum ZA. I'm going to put this down and show Ronald how I'm going to break barriers, okay? If this is you in any situation, hopefully we can do this together. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. We're breaking barriers! That was amazing. That was amazing. That was amazing. Okay, so you can do anything. You see, you can do anything. Breaking barriers. I think I'm going to break your neck. Breaking barriers. You can do. That was incredible.
Fantastic.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we do that?
Well, you did it. You focused, you committed to it, and you acted.
Okay, commit, do it, act. Listen, whatever you do while you're committing and acting, go to momentum.co.za, download the insights. It's going to take us further into a new year. It's going to take us further into financial success. We're going to change our habits and our behaviors. And even if we change one or two of those things that we've been doing that gave us really bad habits, we'll be able to do it. A big thank you to this 10-year partnership with Momentum and Unisa for bringing us insights. Thank you for this amazing event. And thank you. We're a great audience. Before I go, you stand a chance of winning an AMG driving experience to the value of 6,000 Rand. So please comment, go to our QR codes, scan it, and make sure you comment, because I really want you to walk away with that prize. But most importantly, I want you to walk away with financial success. My name is Ilana Afrika Bredenkamp. It's been amazing spending time with you. Ronald, good to see you.
You too.
From all of us here at our Momentum Science of Success event, follow us right now at Momentum ZA. Cheers.